is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Love is Greater Than Fear Spiritual Center. I am Reverend Derek, and I am super excited to be with you this Sunday morning. We're going to be talking today about your, which way is it? Divine inheritance. This is going to be a conclusion in our conversation that we've been having about the book, The Law of Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson. So if you didn't check out our previous videos for this month, those are on the YouTube channel. They're also on Facebook. You can check those out. There's two other talks, the Law of Divine Compensation, and there's also a talk on faith. And today we're going to conclude with a talk called Your Divine Inheritance. We didn't have a chance to really go through the entire book together, but there's so much in that book that if you didn't have a chance to check out your Law of Divine Compensation, definitely check it out. There's so much good stuff in there. So if you're new to the center, my name is Reverend Derek, and every Sunday we get together and we have a spiritual talk and a meditation. So I want to take a moment and just share with you a little bit about our center and who we are. So we are a virtual spiritual center founded by Reverend Derek. That's me. This was just back in November. We have weekly spiritual talks and meditations based on universal spiritual principles. No religion here, no doctrine, no dogma. This is all based on universal spiritual principles. We all probably read and study different things. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all of the great spiritual teachings are teaching the same exact thing. Now, our vision for our center is to be a spiritual place for personal and planetary awakening. Our mission is to support awakening by living and teaching universal spiritual principles of love, peace, and joy. So we do this by offering classes, workshops, and counseling that promotes the healing and transformation necessary for our personal and planetary awakening. Who is welcome here, okay? When I first started looking for a spiritual center like a decade ago, this is what I was looking for to resonate with the center. Who is welcome? Our community is for all, capital ALL, of God's children. Who are God's children? All of us. So regardless of your gender, your race, your sexual orientation, your nationality, your religious background, your political affiliation, or any other seeming difference, because that's all they are. They're just seeming differences. It doesn't matter what it is. You are welcome and accepted here. We believe that all of God's children deserve a life of peace, love, freedom, and creative expression. On top of that, we believe in the dismantling of the thought systems of fear that would hinder any person's purpose on earth. We believe in love and equality for all. And what do we teach? So me personally, I'm a student of a book called A Course in Miracles. I know some of you are. It doesn't matter what you study. Our focus here is on universal spiritual principles. Now, these universal spiritual principles can be found in Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, AA. Can be found. These beliefs can be found in no religion at all. So, but some of the main things that we teach here is that number one, God is our Father and source. All of his children are one and equal, no exceptions. This is radical inclusivity. No exceptions to that rule. We are all one and equal. On top of that, God is eternally speaking to and guiding us. We believe, and this is a big part of what I teach here, we believe in miracles. We believe that they are natural and are your birthright. When you're not experiencing a miracle, something has gone wrong. Not you, but something has gone wrong. Now, a miracle is a shift in perception from fear to love. And there is no order of difficulty in miracles. This is a big principle in A Course in Miracles. It doesn't matter what it is. There's no miracle that's bigger than another. They're all maximal. We also believe that prayer and meditation will transform any life. So whoever you are today, whatever you're going through, I believe that with prayer and meditation, anything you're experiencing can be turned around. Love, peace, and forgiveness are our purpose on earth. There is no other purpose. And when one of us awakens, the entire planet heals. So we believe in radical inclusivity and radical oneness. Radical oneness means that when you suffer, I am suffering because we are one and the same. When you heal, I heal, because again, we are one and the same. We've got a spiritual declaration for us to read together this morning. So if you can see that on your screen, let's read this out loud together. I surrender this day to God, that he may lead me to deeper peace, greater love, and fuller life expression. I surrender all my fears and desires to him. I ask that he show me the path from fear to love. Amen. I believe that if you said that prayer today, that you invited God and all the powers of the universe into your mind and heart to show you out of any suffering that you might be experiencing today. So a couple quick announcements. If you are someone who needs a little extra spiritual guidance this week, we have a variety of ways that our community is here to support you. First and foremost, we've got prayer assistance, okay? So if you're experiencing a health problem, a relationship problem, a money problem, if there's some type of anxiety or depression that you're going through, prayer can help. I think when it comes to the things that have been most transformative in my life, prayer is absolutely one of the ways that I've been able to make big shifts in my mind and in my heart, and therefore in my circumstances. So if you submit a prayer request on our website at loveisgreaterthanfear.org, I did drop the link right below this morning as well. Submit a prayer request and I will pray for you for the next 30 days. And you will get a miracle. We've also got 2 ongoing classes that we offer. So both of these classes are 8-week spiritual transformational programs. You get a workbook, and it's going to walk you through a variety of exercises and meditative practices to help you heal. We've got a spiritual awakening class. That class is going to really just dive into spiritual principles. These are tightly connected to A Course in Miracles. And then we also have a healing of the inner child. So if you've got some inner child stuff that you want to work on, that program would be really good for you. You can get more information on the loveisgreaterthanfear.org website. These classes for the full 8 weeks is $250. These are one-on-one teleconference classes. Now, scholarships are available for anyone that can't pay. So gratitude, immense gratitude to people who tithe to our center, because of those tithes, we're able to do things like this, like scholarships. So if money is an issue for you and you can't afford one of these classes, I'm more than happy to work with you on a scholarship basis. Now, we've also got an Accessing Inner Wisdom counseling sessions. So this is a little bit different than your typical type of like counseling and life coaching where we sit down and we really dive into the thought patterns and what's going on in your life. This is very different. What we do in an Accessing Inner Wisdom session is I walk you through a meditative process. This is a process for you to gain to access your own inner wisdom. So maybe you have a health challenge, maybe you're confused about a career challenge, whatever it might be. We will focus on what your own spirit has to say about that and how it wants to guide you. This is a very powerful process. You can get more information at loveisgreaterthanfear.org. These are $75 for a 60-minute session. Again, nobody is turned away for an ability to pay. Now, great way to stay connected with us is on Facebook. We've got our Facebook page. We've got a Facebook group. We're on Instagram. I've been posting daily spiritual mantras on Facebook and Instagram. So be sure to check those out. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. You guys know all that social media stuff. And then also we have a YouTube page. Now, here's the thing about the YouTube channel. I'm not great at technical stuff and couldn't get the videos to upload to the right YouTube channel for 6 months. I now have the right YouTube channel up. I've been moving everything over one by one to the Love is Greater Than Fear YouTube channel. So if you've liked my personal channel, go like the Love is Greater Than Fear one too, because that's where we are now airing all of our YouTube stuff. I want to take a moment and just say thank you to everybody who has contributed to our nonprofit status. So we have a goal of raising $1,100. This is to pay for the documentation fees and an attorney to help us with this nonprofit status. We want this for so many reasons. It's going to help legitimize our center. It's going to get us discounts. And then also it's going to help you be able to write off on your taxes any donations you make to our centers. So I'm really excited about this. We've raised $591 of our $1,100 goal. The goal is to have this. I'm going to be doing this fundraiser until June. So goal is that by June, we've got this money all raised. I want to take a moment and just say thank you to everyone who has contributed. It's just awesome. And I also want to say thank you to everybody. Donating financially is just one way to contribute to our center. There are some of you that donate your time and your expertise to me. There's some of you that like, that comment, that share, that let me know feedback about like what you're enjoying and how I could better help you. So there's just a variety of ways that you contribute to our center. And I just want to take a moment and just say thank you so much. It means so much to me, but it also means so much for the center as we grow and as we continue to spread our vision of personal and planetary awakening. So we will be back to that in just a moment. So we're going to take a moment and we're going to do our morning prayer. So go ahead and close your eyes. Let's take a moment and turn within. And so we just take a moment and we turn within. Dear God, dear universe, dear spirit, whatever you call that thing that created you, dear love, we invite you into our minds and into our hearts this morning. We dedicate this service to you. We dedicate this conversation to you. We dedicate our day to you, dear God, ruler of the universe, creator of all. We ask that whatever needs to be said today in this conversation is said, whatever needs to be heard is heard, whatever needs to be felt is felt. Any ahas or realizations that are needed, we ask that they come with ease and grace and effortlessly. Dear God, we ask that everyone who is watching this morning, and anyone who watches the broadcast later, that they are blessed with miracles in their life, that they are divinely guided, guarded, directed, that they are reminded of our Father who lives within. I take a moment and I just want to bless everyone who is getting together this morning to celebrate, worship, contemplate the God of their understanding. Whether they're doing it in a church, a mosque, a temple, watching from home, I bless them all. For there are many, many paths to God, millions, billions, who knows how many paths to God there may be. They all lead to the same God. They all lead to the same shift from fear to love. Because love is greater. I call this day good and very good. And we say together, Amen. So, again, thank you for joining us this morning for our conversation on your divine inheritance. If you are new, what we're going to do is we're going to have about a 20-minute talk on the topic today, and then we're going to go into a meditation before we close out. So, again, very grateful for everyone that's here today. So, I have a special guest that I have to grab for you real quick. So this is my cat, Nancy, and trust me, this has to do with the topic today. Everyone say hi to Nancy, give her a like, give her a heart. She's super cute. So I wanted to introduce her to you because I wanted to tell you something about her. So she's 6 years old. About 6 years ago, my ex found her out on the streets. Her mother was laying on a sidewalk, and he brought her home. She was too young to come home at that time. She was probably not even 6 weeks old. She was still breastfeeding. She should not have been brought home that day. And he brought her home, and my other cat was just like, what is this? And what is this creature? And she was a really sweet cat, but she was really scared. She hissed at everything. She scratched at everything. She was terrified. She had just been taken from her mother and brought to this new place. On top of that, my ex was kind of a bully, which is why we're not together anymore. He was kind of a bully, and he would bully her. Now, what's interesting about that is after we broke up, and this was like 5 years ago, she maintained this sense of I'm not safe no matter what happens. And she went through a rough experience, right? We all do in childhood, but she was taken from her mom. She couldn't even eat in the beginning because she still needed breast milk. We had to mash up all of her cat food. And she was so tiny. So of course she was scared of everything around her. Any loud noise, she was scared of the other cats. She was scared of me for a long time. Very much a scared cat. Now, after my ex moved out, me and her just kind of like fell in love with each other, and I now spoil this cat. She gets to do whatever she wants to do. She wants to sleep, she gets to sleep. If she wants to sleep on my chest, that's where she sleeps. If she wants to eat, she wants to drink, whatever she wants. If she wants to play, she gets whatever she wants. And on top of that, I mean, she eats like organic cat food. I get her this salmon and sweet potato cat food. She's always got fresh water. She has a fabulous life. And I do have my other cat, and he's very loving and he's very kind to her. And I'm loving and kind to her. No one ever comes into the apartment that's not going to be loving and kind to her. So this is kind of her inheritance. By having me as her owner, she has a great life. She has a sweet life, okay? This is her divine inheritance, that she has all of this. She's got toys, she's got organic catnip, um, all of that. Now, if you've ever been over to my apartment and been fortunate enough to see her, um, she probably kept her distance. And if you tried to touch her, she tried to scratch or bite you. She can be very vicious. It's very interesting if it's just me and her, she is the sweetest, most loving, kind thing. She just wants to play with me. She's not afraid of me. She doesn't bite. She scratches a little. But we've got a great relationship. But whenever there's a loud sound, or if my other cat gets has some shady behavior, or if I have other people over, she goes from this sweet, innocent, peaceful creature back to when she was 6 weeks old. It's like she flashes back to that, and she's no longer safe, and she's no longer secure, and she will attack. She will scratch. She will bite. She will hiss. She'll get very, very mean. If there's a couple weeks ago, there was a loud sound in my neighbor's apartment, and so she felt threatened. I don't know if you know this about cat and cat psychology. Cats suffer from displaced or misplaced aggression. So if they hear a loud sound from another place, they will then attack another cat. So she does this, and this is how she lives her life. Despite the fact she is never in harm, she is always safe. She always has what she needs, and she is always provided for and loved and looked after. She's spoiled. Now, what does this have to do with your divine inheritance? Most of us are running on the same tape from when we were a child. So like in that story, I told you how she was taken from her mother at too young of an age, right? We know kittens get taken away from their mothers, but this was too young. And we couldn't find a lady to give her back. But where most of us, if not all of us, are going through life playing an old tape of I am not safe, an old tape of there is danger everywhere, an old tape of I am not enough, an old tape of ego stuff that keeps us locked in fear. And it keeps us locked in fear. And the challenge with that is that even if you are in a happy, joyous experience, for example, if you're someone who felt abandoned as a child, you might get into a relationship now that actually is healthy and whole, but you're still playing that tape of being abandoned. And so you act out of that wound. You act out of a fear of being abandoned. And it's like you're blind to the love that is with you now. It's not like that. You actually are like that. That's exactly what happens. Now, we got these tapes playing around. Now, these tapes come from a variety of places, okay? You might have some tapes, and other than another way of saying tapes is like just thought patterns, right? Beliefs. A belief is just a chronic thought. And you've got these tapes going around, and you might have, I always keep my phone out just in case someone texts me they can't hear me during the talk. So we got these tapes playing around, and sometimes these tapes and these thoughts, these beliefs, we get from our parents. So sometimes your parent gave you this, your mom, your dad gave you an insecurity about your safety, gave you, an unhealthy thought about money or sex or your body, whatever it might be. Sometimes those tapes that are playing come from teachers, from siblings. They come from society, from the TV, from maybe whatever it might be. Even from ministers, you get false, really messed up thinking from some centers and from some churches. And these tapes play around in our minds. Now, the Course in Miracles tells us to beware the dangers of an unrecognized belief. So this is why we have our daily spiritual practices, is for God to reveal to us anywhere in our thinking that we are limited. Because if we're limited in our thinking, we're not open to the divine inheritance that God has for us. And we'll go over exactly what the divine inheritance is in just a moment. Now, A Course in Miracles tells us that we can have a grievance or we can have a miracle. Basically, that means that every thought that we think that has to do with guilt, shame, blame, attack, the past, any type of limited thinking, any type of thinking that is rooted in your own childhood wound, and even your adulthood wounds, that blocks your miracle. Because we got these tapes going around and around and around and around. So that's why I shared with you a little bit about my cat Nancy this morning, because I watch her do that. I watch her sitting there very safely in my arms, or we're binging something on Hulu, and something happens. There's a loud sound. She hears a neighbor scream. My other cat starts looking really shady and got some shifty behavior, and it triggers that wound in her. It triggers that I'm not safe. I better murder and kill. That's exactly what you see happen in her eyes. And she goes in to kill. Her hair stands up all over her body. She starts hissing. You can tell she's extremely stressed out. And in her situation, she's completely safe. Nothing is going to hurt her. Nobody's going to come in here and hurt her. So it's just a hallucination. It's a thought. It's a tape that plays out in the mind. And we're the difference between us and the cat pretty much is we have better thinking faculties, so we can get really deeply in tuned into our ego if we want to. But also, one of the differences is she doesn't have therapy to work on that. All I can do is constantly remind her that she's safe. But you and I have therapy to help us work on, and counseling to help us work on these childhood wounds. Now, these things block us from experiencing miracles in our life. Every time you are in a situation, and God is always presenting you with new situations to heal those triggers. I see a lot of posts on social media, oh, this is triggering me. Well, FYI, your triggers are meant to be triggered. Every day, I hope something triggers you. Because if those aren't triggered, then they're not going to be brought up for you to heal. Things trigger your depression. Things trigger your anxiety. Things trigger your anger. The point of spirituality and life isn't to avoid things that trigger my anger, or things that trigger my abandonment issues, or things that trigger my loneliness, depression, anxiety, whatever it is. That's a foolish way to live. If you are just trying to avoid the things that trigger that, then you will never heal that thing. And you'll forever be going through life with this deep wound, and that will always be with you. So the purpose of spirituality is not to deny these feelings, it's to transcend these feelings. So if when something triggers those memories of the past, right? If you were like my cat and you have abandonment issues, and a man, a woman, a boss, someone triggers that abandonment issue, it is for you to not attack that person or to feel attacked, but it is for you, and it is your job to look at this abandonment issue and ask God to help you heal it, so that you can transcend this trigger, transcend the limited thought, transcend the limited belief, and live life in a state of grace where you are able to have access to your miracles. Now, your divine inheritance. Just like in my story with my cat, she has an inheritance where basically she will be fed and she will be cared for and she will be loved, and everything she ever needs will be provided for her. That is what she will always get from me. Now, it's the same way with God. You have a divine inheritance. When God created you, he created you in complete perfection. Now, I'm not talking about infant you. I'm talking about the you that is deeper than that. I'm talking about the you that existed before you were born on this planet. The you that has existed for a millennia and will continue to exist for a millennia. I'm talking about the you, your spirit, your soul. It is made in perfection. You are powerless in changing that. Nothing that you've ever said, nothing you've ever done, no mistake that you've ever made, no circumstance you've ever gone through, no trauma, no challenge, no trigger can ever touch that place within you. Nothing. You are powerless. You are unable to change that. The most you can do is put yourself asleep to that spirit and that inheritance. A few weeks ago, we were talking about the Disney film Sleeping Beauty. And I made a point in there that in all of the princess movies, that the most that the evil witch, the evil fairy can do, and the evil witch and the evil fairy represents our own ego, our own self that thinks, speaks, and acts without love. The most that Maleficent, the evil fairy, could do to Sleeping Beauty, remember, she couldn't kill her. She put a curse on her that she would die, but that failed. The most she could do was put Sleeping Beauty to sleep. And that is the most you and I can do to that spirit within us. The most we can do is fall asleep to it. And as we fall asleep to that perfection, we miss out on our divine inheritance. When instead of accepting and believing in the abundance that is our true nature, we believe money doesn't grow on trees, or we believe that money is for evil people, or believe that money is hard to come by. We have fallen asleep to the truth of who we are. Same goes for relationships. If you had let's say you had like an abusive past relationship or something like that, and then a healthy, loving relationship comes along, you're probably going to fall asleep to that. You won't be able to experience that inheritance. The same thing is true with your health, with your body, anything you're going through. That by letting that tape play out in your mind, play out in your heart, it plays out in your experience. And remember, we talked about a few weeks ago, your faith. You can either have faith in fear, you can have faith in love. You don't have a choice in whether or not you have faith. You just get to choose where you place your faith. And where you place your faith is where you identify with the world. So you can either place your faith in fear and identify with your past experiences, what people have said about you, what you have said about you, identify with your blame, your guilt, your shame, your fear, your ego, all that stuff. You can identify with that. That is your free will to do that if you choose. But if you identify with that, you are closing the door to your divine inheritance. You are falling asleep to the truth of who you are. How many of us have done this a dozen times already this morning? I'm sure all of us have. Now, your divine inheritance, I've got an eyelash, sorry. Your divine inheritance is A Course in Miracles paints the picture like this. It's as if your father was a wealthy king and you were his prince or princess, his child, and he's a wealthy king and he has this huge kingdom and he has all this money. He loves you. You have everything you could possibly ever want. This is your inheritance. But it's like you don't know it's there, and so you don't get any of the inheritance. That's how most of us live our lives, is we're walking around having fallen asleep to the truth of who we are and very unaware of our divine inheritance. Now, our divine inheritance, or rather our promise from God, is he made you perfect. He made you peace. He made you love. He has placed an infinite wisdom within you. The Course in Miracles talks a lot about your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit. This is a guide that is here with you right here and now to help you make that shift from fear to love. It's a voice within you that knows exactly where to go, what to say, what to do. It knows what job is right for you. It knows which doctor is right for you. It knows which diet is right for you. It is going to be so much better, this divine wisdom, this Holy Spirit, this inner teacher, at selecting a partner for you than you ever could. Because the difference between us and God is that God can see tomorrow. The Holy Spirit sees both the pain in your heart and your longings and your discontents. and it sees tomorrow and the next day. It has it's like that Bette Midler song, From a Distance, you know? I changed the lyrics in that, from a distance, God is watching us, to from a distant perspective. Because in that song, she's talking about how, when God looks at the planet, he just sees, blues and greens. He doesn't see war. He doesn't see all these people fighting. And that's because when God steps back, when you and I can step back and see the bigger picture of things, we can see more easily the path from fear to love. Now, most of us in our ego thinking and being constantly inundated with information, with electronics, and our constant thinking and emotional reactions and our triggers to everything, we miss out on that so much. But you have this divine inheritance where God has basically said, hey, Mary Ellen, anything you need for your life experience and the highest unfoldment and fullest expression of who you are on this planet is yours. Hey, Michelle, anything you need for to be the happiest you could possibly be here in your physical experience, it is yours. God knows how much your rent is. God knows how much you need for retirement. God knows the right partner for you. God knows the next best move in your career. God knows how to guide you with dealing with if you have children you don't get along with, or if you have children that are in trouble, God knows how to guide you through that. If you are grieving the loss of someone in your life, God can guide you through that. God knows how. We're talking about the same spirit, the same presence that has created a universe of abundance. There is no food shortage on earth. We have more than enough food. There's just a problem with it being allocated to people that need food. There is no shortage. We live in an abundant universe. We live on a freaking rock that is the perfect distance from the sun, moving at the perfect speed around the sun, at the perfect axis, with everything needed for there to be an abundant life. If the Earth was any closer or any further from the sun, if the axis was any different, if any of that was just slightly different, there would be no life on planet Earth. But there is, and that's a miracle. And that's how much we are loved by God, and that's how powerful God and the entire universe is. But very much in the same way that the Earth exists like that at the perfect speed, at the perfect distance, the same thing is true for you in your life. You are the Earth in your solar system. The difference is you get to choose your axis. You get to choose your speed. You get to choose your distance from the sun. And a lot of us in our ego thinking, our limited thinking, we move ourselves too far from that sun. We get scared and we back up. It's like, how many times are you in a situation where you could be loving, or someone's trying to express love to you, and because, again, those tapes, that childhood stuff, you step back. You are your own Earth in this solar system. And again, you get to choose. You get to choose fear or love every day. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, sorry, I need some water. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, yeah, Derek, that sounds really nice. There's this divine inheritance where all the money I need is here and all the health and the healing I need is here, whatever it might be. How do I change that? I still experience anxiety and depression. Maybe you have limitations. Maybe you do have some limitations that seem very real. Maybe you don't have job expertise. Maybe you don't actually have the money in your bank, in the bank account, whatever it is. What do I do? How do I make this shift from fear to love? How do I get one of these miracles you're talking about? How do I access my divine inheritance? Well, this is where spiritual practice comes into play. And it's crazy. So often, the people who believe in this stuff are actually the same people who don't practice this stuff, right? So if you are a spiritual person, if you identify as a spiritual person, part of that identification requires a daily spiritual practice. It's that simple. meditation, prayer, your spiritual study. And I sometimes when I tell people about this, I can hear, see, or feel them yawn like, no, don't start with the meditation and the prayer. But here's the thing: spirituality is the practice of turning away from the physical world towards the spiritual world. The physical world, which may be fact, but we're turning away from that towards what is true. Facts and truth are not the same thing. So we need to daily take time to turn away from what we see. Our senses really confuse us. Our eyes actually blind us. Our hearing is not great because it's limited to the things of the physical world. And the things of the physical world are so deeply connected to fear and ego. So we need to take time every morning. The Course in Miracles tells us that 5 minutes with the Holy Spirit is enough every day to guarantee that your thought patterns will be in the hands of God. That doesn't mean you won't make any mistakes. That just means that you're more likely to choose love over fear. Now, the Course in Miracles says 5 minutes is enough. I don't necessarily think 5 minutes is enough. Because here's the thing, when that book was written in the 60s and 70s, they didn't have cell phones and computers, and they weren't constantly inundated with technology like we are today. So I think 20 minutes minimum for your meditation and prayer practice every day. So if you're watching this, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you have money problems, if you have career problems, if you have relationship challenges, if there are any areas where you are not at peace, then you need a daily spiritual practice. Now, this can look like whatever you want it to look like for you, okay? I recommend you read some books, you look into some meditation styles, you look into some prayer styles, you get some books, and you start cultivating a daily time where you turn away from the physical world and you turn within to your spirit. And it really comes down to identifying where we're limited in our thinking and letting that go. Just letting those limitations go, daily inviting God, the universe, whatever you call it, into your mind and heart, asking that it transform your life, that it take away your anxiety, that it take away your depression, that it take away your loneliness. We don't tell God how to do these things. We don't tell the universe, well, he needs to be 5'11", blue eyes, and in this zip code and with this bank account. That's none of our business because, again, God can see what we cannot see. God can see tomorrow. So God's going to know what ultimately will bring you to true happiness for you. God knows your longing. The Holy Spirit knows your longing and your desires and the pain of what you've gone through in your life. And God knows what would ultimately, truly make you the happiest. He knows what partner that is. He knows how much money that is. He knows the career that is. He knows what diet that might be, anything you might need to give up. He knows. You don't. So we want to spend at least 20 minutes in the morning of asking God to guide us. The prayer from A Course in Miracles, my favorite one is, Dear God, where would you have me go? Who would you have me be? What would you have me say? And to whom? We cannot trust ourselves. And, that might seem counterintuitive to a self-help industry that tells you to believe in yourself and to trust yourself and things like that. Course in Miracles and my thoughts on this are very different. You cannot trust yourself. You cannot trust yourself because you walk through life very blind to this divine inheritance. You walk through life with childhood wounds. You walk through life with triggers. You walk through life being inundated by technology and information and other people's thoughts and opinions. At the end of the day, you can't truly trust yourself because more than likely you don't even know who yourself is. And that is okay. Some real peace came into my life the day I woke up and I realized I could not trust myself and that I was not living my life the way I could. I looked at my life one day, I was laying in bed, I woke up after binging drugs for like 5 days, and I was just been losing my job and just this horrible mess I'd gotten into. I woke up one morning and I was like, Dear God, I clearly don't know what I'm doing. I obviously do not know what I am doing. I do not have my own best interest in heart. And most importantly, my best thinking has got me here. So that day, I stopped trying to place trust and faith and belief in myself, and I shifted my faith, trust, and belief into God. I don't know where I should go. I don't know what I should do. Even when it comes to this ministry, when I sit down to work on some graphics and come up with talks, I'll be like, oh, I can't think of like what to talk about next Sunday, and it's like, well, it's really none of my business what to talk about next Sunday. Dear God, what would you have me talk about? And when you live life like that, your spirit leans. The soul is meant to lean into God. It's a natural relationship between God and the spirit, is that we just lean into Him. We lean into Him for wisdom. We lean into Him for guidance. The more we can lean into Him, that stress just leaves our body. Of Course in Miracles tells us that disease comes, we experience disease because of how much we identify with the body, and the body wasn't designed to experience the kind of stress that comes when the psyche thinks it is the body. Because you are truly something beyond this body. And when you remember that, that's when life becomes miraculous. That's when the right job opportunity shows up for you. That's when the money shows up in your bank account. That's when the right partner shows up. When you're leaning into God and you're remembering that this world's an illusion, I'm just here to love, and you're just in this deeply centered space. That's when the answers come on how to handle any situation. That's where the reminder comes of who you truly are and why you are here. This is when clarity comes. This is your divine inheritance. You are meant to be wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. I'm not just talking about money here. I'm talking about love, an abundance of peace, abundance of joy, an abundance of beautiful experiences in your life. So we're going to go ahead and move into our meditation now. This is really important that we have a meditation practice, especially if we're experiencing hardships in life. Because you can have a grievance or you can have a miracle. And if you are stuck anywhere, if you're playing those tapes, those are just blocking your miracles. And you're wondering why life's not getting better. And it comes down to the fact that you are thinking with fear instead of asking God to help you think with love. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to go ahead and just get really comfortable in your chair and close your eyes. And we just let go of any worries, any stresses. We let go of anything that has happened so far today or anything you have to do after this talk. I want you to see yourself just taking anything that you're worried or concerned about and just sitting it down for the moment. You can pick it back up if you like afterwards. And begin to focus on your breathing. We're going to take 3 deep breaths together, always in through our nose and out through our mouth. Let each one be deeper on the inhale and slower on the exhale. And after your 3rd deep breath, just let your breathing return to normal. You don't want to try and control it. At this point, just let it relax and go back to its natural pace. And we just focus on our breathing. Let your thoughts come. Let them go. And I invite you to see in your mind the tiny ball of golden light. Imagine that light growing and expanding until it takes up the entire circumference of your mind. We feel that golden light move its way down our body, past our shoulders, down through our arms, down our chest. The golden light just moves down our body, throughout our legs, out through our fingers and our toes. In this moment, we are safe, we are whole, we are complete. And now we see in our minds an altar before us. The Course in Miracles tells us that that which we place on the altar is then altered. And that only that which we are willing to give to God can He take from us. So I invite you this morning to let some area of life come to mind where you're not at peace. It's probably already popped up for you a couple times. I want you to take this issue, name it. Is it a money problem? Is it loneliness? Is it anxiety? Whatever this place is where you're not at peace, I want you to take it and place it on the altar and say something like, "Dear God, I give to you this problem. Dear God, I give to you this loneliness. Dear God, I give to you this anxiety." Whatever it might be, there's no right or wrong way to do this. And as we place this on the altar, we see God's light shine down. We hear Him say your name. "Dear whoever, I see this and I take this from you." See yourself covered in this golden light. And dear God, we consistently and continuously invite you into our minds and into our hearts, into our experiences. We ask that you take from us any place where we are not at peace. We ask that you change our thinking about the places we're not at peace. We ask that you change the way we talk about it. We ask that you change our behaviors. We ask that you change anything that needs to change for there to be peace in this area of our lives. Dear God, we know that you know the depths of our suffering and our sorrow, our loneliness, our own confusion. We know you know the depths of this. And we hand it over to you to create a miracle, to aid us in shifting from fear to love, dear God, that we may remember our divine inheritance, that we may remember the love that is our nature, that we are free from the past, that we are free from any limitations, that we are not our body, we are a soul, we are a spirit that is at all times connected with you, dear God, one with you, made in your likeness and image, made powerful, dear God. We just relax our bodies and we allow the spirit of the highest God, of the most holy God, to enter into our being. Self-correcting, self-organizing, throwing out any junk thinking so that thoughts of love, peace, joy, perfection, and power can flow uninhibited. We thank you, dear God, for this miracle in advance. And together we say, Amen. So as you feel comfortable, go ahead and bring your attention back to the room. I say this all the time, but it's impossible for you to start your day like that and not have a better day. If you spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the morning in a meditation practice like that, it changes your nervous system, it changes your energy, it restores a natural charisma to you. It makes you a magnet for all the good things in the world, for all the good things that God would have you have for your divine inheritance. So before we wrap up here this morning, just a reminder, if you are looking for next steps, here's the thing. You might be in a place right now where these Sunday talks are all you need. I've been in that place. But there's been other times in my life where I've needed something more. I've needed counseling or I've needed a class, depending on what's up for you. So be sure to check out the Love is Greater Than Fear website at loveisgreaterthanfear.org to look at more information. You can DM me with any questions you have about any of it. Also, remember that our center relies entirely on your generous donations. You guys have been amazing. If you do feel so called to support this center financially, you can go to our Facebook page, or in the comments below, you should see a link for our GoFundMe account. And now we're going to say together our spiritual declaration. So everyone join me in saying this out loud today. I surrender this day to God, that he may lead me to deeper peace, greater love, and fuller life expression. I surrender all of my fears and my desires to him. I ask that he show me the path from fear to love. Amen. Next Sunday, we are going into a new month. We're going to be talking about mysticism and miracles. So I wish I had the book with me. There's a book by John Mundy called Mysticism and Miracles. So the talk that we do throughout May, part of that is going to be from the book on mysticism. The reason I wanted to explore this is, I said many times that, we're a spiritual center without doctrine and without dogma. We're a center without doctrine, without dogma. At the heart of every religion and path is mysticism. Mysticism is the path of the heart, right? It's a path of the heart, meaning we don't abide by rules that men wrote thousands of years ago. We abide by what God is telling us to do in our hearts and the way that he is guiding us. And by recognizing the spiritual principles and spiritual laws of the universe so that we can better aid our own personal and planetary awakening. So that will be next Sunday. And that's it, guys. You've been amazing. Don't forget to like, comment, share, to subscribe, all of that good stuff. There's probably somebody on your news feed today who is feeling anxiety about something in their life. They're experiencing some type of depression. They're going through some kind of hardship. So sharing this on your timeline is a great way to introduce the center and these healing principles to more people. So until next time, love one another. Bye.